and welcome to the Sacred Priestess Podcast, where I share insights, tools, and teachings for beautiful awakening women who feel drawn to the priestess path and to the ancient wisdom of the divine feminine path and lineage of the rose. I am Hayley. Thank you so much for being here. It's wonderful to have you wherever you are tuning in from and whatever you are doing on this beautiful day. So today we are talking about the path of Venus and the feminine journey of 2026. So as we move into this new year, continue on our awakening journey, Mary and the goddesses are really asking us to step into devotion. Mary Magdalene has been coming through a lot about devotion this year, and it's such a big theme for us as we move into this new beginning, because we have really entered a new phase of awakening, right? And most of you who have been here with me for a while, we've been walking together on our journey. We have been doing a lot of healing, and this healing has been very tumultuous. It feels like we've been swept up in this chaos, being bashed about by emotion, and we're really being called into a new phase now, one of expansion as we step into 2026. So we're being called to leave all of that stuff behind now. We don't need to drag heaviness of awakening in with us. So we're being asked to leave that in 2025, declare that now so that we can move into our highest potential in 2026. We can move into possibility and, like I said, expansion. So the ancient teachings of the rose are connected to the path of Venus. Venus being, all about the divine feminine, and this is the energy that comes to us from the stars. The priestess path is about understanding our beautiful connection and devotion to the earth, to self, and to the stars. We are that conduit between the heavens and the earth. And so, when we honor Venus and the path of Venus, we honor our own cycle and we honor our own healing. So every 8 years, Venus returns to almost the exact same spot in the sky. And as she does that, she creates the 5-pointed star, the pentagram, what in ancient teachings when we were back in Mu and Lemuria used to be looked at as the Venus rose, the rose of Venus, this beautiful pentagram, this beautiful geometry that she creates. And every phase that she goes through reflects part of our journey, our healing journey and our ascension journey as high priestesses and as beautiful divine feminine beings or divine beings. We don't just have to be female. We all go through this, but as we are anchoring in this beautiful energy onto the earth, this is what we are moving through. So we're going to quickly walk through these phases today. And I just want you to take on board the fact that we don't have to be all over these phases for the entire year. This is something that happens with us naturally. And if we allow ourselves to flow with these energies, then, we don't have to be, what time of year is it? What phase are we in or anything like that? It's just about, this is the beautiful thing about the priestess path, about the path of the rose and the rose lineage, is that it's about learning to just feel into your energy and what's happening with that and moving with that. And it will reflect this naturally. So phase 1 of beautiful Venus, which we are in right now, the underworld. So this is going up until about mid-February, and this is when Venus is still hidden. She's still moving behind the sun. So this is still a time of recalibration, integration. So at the end of last year, we really all were kind of feeling that point of stillness and the anticipation of something building, but like we weren't quite there yet because we were still, like I said, integrating those energies. We're still kind of a little bit like that now. So if your start to 2026 hasn't sort of felt like that big masculine, that's 2026, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and you're still kind of feeling a bit slower, a bit more internal, feeling like you still need to look inward a little bit more, like there's still little bits, either little emotional releases, ancestral releases, things that the fat that you're still trimming, then that's okay, because we're still in that phase in terms of Venus and what's coming up. So you still may feel a little bit slower. You still may be feeling more reflective. So you want to still be in that stage of looking inwards rather than rushing forward with things. You still might feel like you need to be in a place of rest rather than, like I said, that masculine pushing. And you still may be feeling like you're in that listening and just tuning into your heart and tuning into the energy of what's going on rather than making quick split decisions. So we're still in that energy until about mid-February. So old values are still dissolving, things are still shifting in this part of the year. So don't worry if you're not feeling like you're having this like full on, yeah, let's go 2026 and you're still in that reflective phase. You're exactly where your energy needs to be. So just a couple of reflection questions as we move into the end of this phase in the middle of February. What is no longer aligned for me? Like, what am I just not bringing into 2026? What am I leaving in that chaotic awakening energy, leaving all of that behind me? What isn't aligned? What's not coming with me? And what am I being asked to release before I move forward? We still have that little bit of time to really tune into what do I want 2026 to be for me? What expansion am I moving into? What greater possibilities, what bigger dreams do I want? And what can't come with me for that? What limiting beliefs, what emotional patterns, what ancestral stuff can't come with me? What habits can't come with me into this year in order for me to move into what I want it to be? So that's phase one. Phase two is Venus rising. This is the emergence, the evening star phase where she becomes visible after sunset. So this is the time from mid-February to early March. So it's not a big phase, this one. So yeah, this is where Venus rises again. And this is where we now start stepping into more clarity. We're gently coming back into understanding. We're gently bringing back that wisdom. We're moving from different places. So we're moving, now that we've integrated all of the wisdom that we've collected from all of the shedding, we can now bring forward new desires and start tapping into new desires that are resurfacing as this emergence begins to happen. So we are also really noticing what is not aligned. So you are not going to be able to ignore things that are not working for you anymore. So anything that is in out of alignment with your energy, with your beliefs, with your values, with where you want to go in 2026, it's just going to be too hard to ignore. So we really need to be dipping into truth and acknowledging our truth and not being afraid of that, so that what isn't right, we don't move forward on, we don't make those choices. So, we really want to be noticing our energy within our body, like our actual physical body and the way things are affecting us physically and also energetically, and making sure that we're setting boundaries with that. Because you're going to be sort of in that phase of like when something happens, it's like, I just can't go back to that. I can't go back into that job, or I can't go back into behaving that way. I can't go back into those habits, those patterns. It's just going to be too hard because of where you've come from and what you've stepped into and all the beautiful work that you've done. This phase is also a lot about authenticity and self-expression. And even if things are feeling scary and you're a bit tentative, you really do need to move forward. This is really now about putting your big girl pants on and feeling the fear and doing it anyway this year, right? And just stepping into the unknown, having that, really stepping into those divine feminine attributes of surrender and flow and faith and trust, mainly in yourself rather than anyone else, right? We all want to talk to our guides and we all trust our guides and we want to believe in the universe, but we need to trust in ourselves to break those habits and make those right choices in order for us to move forward. So it can be scary, but we're all here doing this together and you have so much support around you, and you really just need to feel that fear and do it anyway. So reflection questions for this phase are: what part of me is ready to be seen and heard? Because this authenticity is all about that self-expression and speaking your voice. And I think we're kind of not going to be afraid to speak our voice anymore, to be honest. I think it's just a new level that we've stepped into where it is actually going to be easy for us to speak up when we need to and want to. So that is what we're up to in this part. And like I said, so what part of me is ready to be seen and heard, and where am I being invited to live more truthfully, and more in, so I suppose more alignment within myself. Where am I ready to, live in more alignment and get rid of what's not working in that. So phase 3 is where we are at the peak. This is mid-March to mid-August. This is where we kind of step into that queen energy. It's the radiant evening star. It's about expression. It's about love. It's about our relationships with self and others. And this is a real outward facing energy. This is where our energy is willing to take up space. This is where we really step forward and are like, I'm here, I've arrived. That real sense of, I don't know, I suppose what you kind of felt as a teenager, right? When you went out like, yeah, here I am, let's have some fun and do this thing. That's kind of the energy that comes forward. So like I said, a lot around relationships, creativity, pleasure, your values, noticing in relationships where you're giving too much, or where you're not willing to receive much, and a lot of us more than anything, that's with the universe, and especially stepping into 2026 where we're going into our highest timeline, our highest potential, expanding possibility. We need to be open to receiving. We need to be open to understanding that we are deserving, because everything that we've done, everything that was shedded, all the beautiful energy that we're giving out, we deserve that to come back to us. That's just the way it works. It's not really even about deserving. It's just about, you are here, therefore you deserve, right? I am, therefore I deserve. So everything that you put out, allow that receivership to come back to you. So like I said, this is about relationships shifting and changing. It's about creative expression. You may feel the desire to teach and share and give more in this period, because of where you've come from, the wisdom that's integrated, and you're just kind of ready to balance that out and share it. You want to be more visible, you feel more visible, but you're also going to notice a lot more balance. And I think that balance comes from the fact that you are now really, truly embodying and outwardly expressing the true essence of who you are after these other phases. So reflection questions within this phase might be, where am I giving too much? Where am I ready to receive more? And what truly nourishes me now? This is a time of harnessing in those desires and the things that you want to do. And so what are those things that nourish your energy, that nourish your body, whether that's certain friends that you want to hang out with, a certain job that you might want, ways of nourishing by reading, or little projects that you want to do. So all of this comes through in that peak phase 3. So phase 4, Venus descending. So this is late August to early October. This is about going back into softness and release. This is the phase descending evening star, and she begins her descent. Obviously the energy is naturally going to start turning back inwards. So this is sort of like, and I have talked about the cycle of ascension before, and this is sort of what that follows. Okay, so we go through these cycles that allow us to release, bring in more wisdom, to integrate, to really step into that, to heighten our vibration, and then move upwards. So we've gone from that integration into speaking truth, into really being out there, and now we're going to go start back descending, which starts inviting discernment. It starts allowing the next level and layer to release, because again, not everything can come with you as you once again begin to up level your energy and your vibration. So again, it's a time of shedding and releasing. It's noticing old relationship patterns surfacing, old habits surfacing. So making sure that we're definitely leaving those again at the door in order for us to move forward. You might feel the need to simplify everything, simplify your rituals, simplify your schedule, do a bit of a clean out in the house and get all that simplified. A need for stronger boundaries, because as we begin this descent and we begin to turn more inward, we need to make sure that we are really watching what our energy is doing, where our energy is going, and making sure that we have boundaries up around that. It's where we start again releasing the grief of what no longer fits, which actually brings relief. When we allow ourselves to just grieve and let go of the past in whatever way that is, whether it is habits, whether it's old parts of self, whether it's people that we're releasing and letting go of, that needs to come up again in order for us to move. And again, just about releasing the chaos of healing and noticing it as stepping into truth and alignment. And like I said in the beginning, we need to just let go of that awakening heaviness now. It's done, it's over. Let it go, unplug from it, and start realizing and understanding that these releases and this healing is about truth and alignment. It's not about chaos and craziness. It's about stepping into who you truly are. So when we honor and really look beautifully at the releases that we are having and understanding as they come up that it is allowing you to step into the next newest version of yourself. We all want, the question that comes up so much is, how do I hold a high vibration? You hold high vibration by integrating high vibration. You can't fake your way through high vibration. And the healing brings in more light. It brings in that the raising of your vibration, which holds it there, right? Like the people who fall off are the people who are trying to hold a high vibration and, oh yes, I'm so high vibe and I'm bringing in joy and I'm bringing in all these things. That's not sustainable. What's sustainable is your healing and this cycle of ascension that naturally integrates a higher vibrational frequency into your cells, period. Like it's in there with that integration. So this is what we need to see healing as. Sorry, went off on a bit of a tangent there. So in this phase 4, in Venus descending, the reflection questions we can think about are, what am I holding on to out of habit or fear? Which is a big one, right? And what is asking to be quietly released and gently released? What is asking, it's time for me to go now, right? It's time for me to leave. I can't be here with you in this. I need you to let go. So our last phase, phase 5, which is Venus retrograde, which is about deep feminine remembrance. This comes through early to late October, and this is where Venus starts moving back towards the sun. So this is a really, really deeply sacred phase. This is where we start reassessing our devotion, our worth, our self-love, our boundaries, and really start tuning into and living in a deeper layer, a deeper level from our heart space. Our heart space and moving from our heart space is what connects us to our soul essence, our higher self. This is where it speaks to us. It speaks to us through that heart space. So when you're tapping into that truth and that alignment, tapping into this heart space is where it comes from, your soul. So that's how we live in that beautiful alignment. And this is what this deep sacred phase, tapping into that deep wisdom, is what is happening and going on here. It's not a time for making big decisions, quick decisions. It's about rest. It's about, like I said, listening to that soul essence. It's about allowing the gentle wisdom to rise from the womb. This is about really connecting into that sacred womb space, your sacred knowledge, that real deep, divine, grounded feminine wisdom. So, which is beautiful, stepping into that deeper remembrance of who you are as a spiritual human being, who you are as a starseed, and having that connection to the stars, connection to ancestors, connection to beautiful Gaia. So it's that deep remembrance of the divine feminine, of how important the divine feminine is in this world. It's about remembering goddess as part of God. It's God, goddess. It's not all masculine. It's not one. It's the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And we're bringing that divine feminine back because it's been suppressed for so long. So reflection questions in this phase: what does devotion to myself truly look like now? And what values am I ready to live by moving forward? So these are all things that come up in this phase. which is absolutely brilliant and beautiful. So they're the 5 phases that we move through, and then obviously it goes back into phase 1. And this is why this year is such a big year, because all of those phases are happening in 1 year this year. So the path of Venus reminds us that when we are feeling stuck, when we are feeling lost, like our guides aren't talking to us, like we can't tap into our intuition, when we're feeling alone, nothing's gone, nothing's wrong. All that is happening is we are moving through these beautiful energetic phases. This is the cycle of ascension. It's the cycle that we move through in order to step into our next level, our next layer, so that we can expand our possibilities, step into the manifestation, bring that manifestation forward that we want. But like I said at the beginning, we really need to be thinking bigger. We need to be expanding those possibilities out way more, like dream as big as you can. That is the energy that we're stepping into to be able to harness in this new earth. It's no more playing small. Really expand your horizons. Really think, okay, what is the biggest thing that I can think of? Like for us, an overseas holiday with the 5 of us, and especially now that they're not little kids anymore, so anything we do, we kind of need 2 hotel rooms or 2 rooms or whatever. But I am totally like, my holiday manifestation used to be, oh, can we go camping somewhere, where it costs like $30 a night, because that's what we can afford. I'm like, no, we're going on a cruise to Honolulu next year. We're going Honolulu, Bora Bora, we're doing it. And I'm like just putting that biggest holiday possible, that like I just don't know how that's going to happen, but that's what I'm putting out there, because it's about expanded possibility. It's about what if, and if it doesn't happen next year, that's okay. It could happen the year after, but it's out there and it's happening. And this is where we need to dream. So whatever your baseline used to be, whether it be for a holiday, for a job, for the amount of money that you can earn, for the place that you want to live, whatever that baseline was, raise it times 10 this year, right? And really step into that expansion. So sorry, I completely went off on a tangent there. But what I was saying was that these phases are, what bring us into those higher states of consciousness and really anchor in the higher vibration, so that we can do and be what we actually came here to be. And I'm not saying that who we are now isn't good enough. And I think that can get a little bit misconstrued, like in saying that we want to reach higher potential, be the best version of ourselves, that we're not good enough right now. We are. But what else is possible, right? What else is possible within us? What else is possible within our lives? That is the new earth timeline. That is living in a higher frequency possibility, not lack. And if we want to hold in those new earth frequencies, then this is, the energy that we need to start living from. So yeah, allow yourself to shed, allow yourself to remember, allow yourself to be honest, to live through the feelings of your heart, be heart-led, because that's where your soul essence communicates with you, through your heart. Take on that wisdom, integrate everything. So this year we're going into a time of, I just want to encourage you that if you feel the need to rest, to rest. The priestess path is not about you've got to do this, and this ritual, and this with the moon. That's not what it's about. It's about honoring you. This is what the divine feminine is. This is what the rose teachings are. Honoring you and where you're at and where your energy is. Okay, so it's about that flow. It's about really listening and tuning into you. So if you feel the need to rest, then rest. If you feel the need to speak up, then speak up. Like I said, it's time for us to put our big girl pants on and actually honor our voices. As women, we've not been taught to do that. And maybe you have been this lifetime, maybe you don't have that much of a problem with it, but most of the suppression of women's voices is something that is in our ancestral lineage. It's something that goes so far back that it's something that's kind of ingrained in us to not speak up to, the level that we should be. So if you feel the need to speak up, then speak up. If you feel disconnected and you feel like you're disconnected from your intuition or from your guides, just honor that you're probably in a time of integration. And you need to allow all of that wisdom and that new recalibration of energy to move down into a cellular level. Remember, we are spiritual human beings, not spiritual over here and human over here. We are connecting it all together. So that's one thing that I do encourage you to take out of your vocabulary is the sentence, I am a spiritual being having a human experience. No, you are a spiritual human being, and all that spiritual essence, that spiritual energy needs to integrate itself into your physical cells. So if you are feeling disconnected, if you are feeling like things aren't moving forward, it may be because you are in that time where it's moving into you on a cellular level, and you need to honor that. If you feel the need to retreat and set bigger boundaries, honor that. If you feel something releasing and falling away, just let it. Don't cling onto it. Don't make it mean something. Just let it fall. You don't have to dive into it and know all the ins and outs of it. Just let it go. Just go, oh, that's coming up. Yep, I release it. I let it go with love. And you don't need to track Venus. You don't need to track what's going on because it is an innate flow of energy. It's just something that happens naturally. So, this isn't just another thing for you to think about during the year, apart from all the retrogrades and the full moons, and that's not what I've done this for. It's just this is that path of the rose that is sort of the anchor of these priestess teachings and the lineage of the rose. So yeah, but it's not something that you have to write in your calendar, right? You can just allow this to flow through you naturally. But I hope you learned something new about that today. I would love to know your thoughts, so you can pop those in the comments if it's something that feels aligned with you, if it's something that you've noticed this year that you haven't kind of run out of the blocks going, yeah, 2026, and you do still kind of feel that that need to be kind of still, and you're still integrating, and there's still a couple of little endings happening, then yeah, I'd love to hear about that in the comments. The path of Venus, like I said, is those ancient teachings, and it's the lineage of Mary Magdalene, of Mother Mary, of Goddess Isis, who I work with, and we work with in the Sacred Mystery School. So if it is something that you're interested in, do keep following me, because when these programs open, the Sacred Priestess Initiation, where we work with these beautiful goddesses, we actually work with 7 of them who bring through the 7 keys to the priestess path. It's such a beautiful journey to move through for 8 weeks with these beautiful goddesses. We learn a lot about them. We learn a lot about ourselves. But yeah, so keep in touch if it's something that you're interested in. I will be running a free circle at the beginning of February with Mary Magdalene. The registration for that is below, where we will learn a little bit about Mary Magdalene and her story, and then do a beautiful journey with her. She gets so excited to come through and bring her energy through. She is very powerful with her energy. I'm assuming because she's been so full on about one of her biggest keys is devotion. So I'm sure it will be around that and helping you ignite the Magdalene flame within you. So that's going to be beautiful and amazing. So I will also put the wait list to the Sacred Priestess Initiation below as well. So if it is something that you want to dive into, you will be the first to know when the doors open for that great 8-week program. Thank you so much for being here. It's been great to have you, and I will see you again next week. Bye.